Welcome to Twisted Threads. Welcome to our segment, Reflections of Purpose. And so I'm glad that you decided to press play. Glad that you wanted to hear a little bit about Reflections of Purpose. So Reflections of Purpose is a segment that will be brought to you 3 days a week right now. And so we'll see about whether it's something that we need to kind of do every day, but it'll be between 5 to no more than 10-minute videos that we will be presented to you on our Twisted Threads YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram and all of the social media outlets that we can use to help get messaging out. And so reflections of purpose are just those things that we can think about and reflect in the sense of what can we do better? What are the areas of weakness, or what areas of strength do we have that we can share with other people? And so today is our first launch day, October 1st. We're excited because Twisted Threads is 6 months old today. So our half birthday day. And today we want to talk a little bit about the reflection of purpose of use what's in your hand. And so, on yesterday, I was kind of going around the house and I'm looking for one of my hair ties. And a lot of times I wear a hair tie on my arm, but I'm looking all over the place and couldn't find the hair tie. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to go back upstairs. Where could I find one? And I said, forget about it. It's not even going to be a thing. And so from that, I went on and I started doing some other things, lifted my arm up, saw the hair tie and was like, oh, okay. Now look, we could chuck that up and say that's a senior moment because we have them no matter what age. But, when you get over 40, anyway, that's another story. But what it allowed me to really realize is how many times do we go through life, we start something and say, well, I don't have it. And then we have that same mindset of, well, just forget about it. Today's reflection of purpose is specifically entitled, Lose Your Mind. And not lose your mind in doing something crazy, and not lose your mind in, the forgetfulness, but the forgetfulness of, let's not use the tactics that we used 10 years ago. Why? Because chances are they're no longer effective in the areas and the regions that we're currently in. So many of us may have a new job now. Some of us may have longevity in the same position or the same job that we've been in. And that's a good thing. But odds are you're not doing the job the same way that you did when you first stepped on the scene. So the exciting thing is that as life moves on for us, we get to move with it, but we got to lose our mind. And when I say lose your mind, I mean lose your old mindset, lose your old way of thinking, lose what you thought were kind of barriers. And so a lot of times, when I thought about it, even the birth of this reflection of purpose, it was kind of, well, how do we continue to do this? I don't really know what it is that maybe people might want to hear. And so what I did was brought a team of people together and said, okay, here's something that I'm going to do. I need some advice. Tell me what it is that you want to hear. And I'm one of those. I'm a firm believer, together everyone achieves more. I believe in all of that. But I believe that God has placed us on this earth. Literally, he could have let Adam do everything that Adam needed to do and it would be all right. But biblically it says, man is not meant to be alone. And so, you all got spouses, Lord send them. Okay. With all of that, when you start doing things that are bigger than yourself, you find that there's a blessing in just how many people you impact, how many people you inspire. And then, the transformation part is something that we may not know. And so our tagline at Twisted Threads is inspire, impact, and transform. The purpose behind that tagline is exactly what it is, because when you inspire someone, they get to view themselves in a different way, or even just hanging on to your coattails. And then that impacts their life in a way that they get to make changes that will then transform their very being. So those 3 words, an entire sentence and a process that we believe in at Twisted Threads. And I say we because it's not just me, but there are more people coming, and, we're creating teams around what it is that we're doing. Why? One, because I can't be everywhere at every time. But as I talk to people and I mentor folks and I get to share with people kind of the impact of their individual voices. We get to come together. But the first thing that we each needed to do is lose our minds. And so a lot of the mindset, we'll talk about that with these reflections of purpose, but it gives us an opportunity. One, hopefully these reflections of purpose will prove one thing. You either are crazy or you're not. And I say that specifically in the sense of sometimes we believe that we're the only ones who's going through a particular thing. I want to give voice to you, to give you the opportunity to take off that shackle of there's nobody who's going through this but me. True indeed, your circumstance is unique and specific to you. But when we think about losing our mind. Look, I had to lose my mind. I literally just said, oh, well, forget about it. I won't even do that thing. And when we think about losing our mind, the first thing that you have to take inventory of is what's in your hands. What are you equipped with? What are the talents and skills that you have been diminishing in your own mind? You haven't been a self-promoter. You haven't been a self-motivator. You've been a procrastinator in areas because it's like, well, I got these kids and, they toddlers, so I can't start this business right now. Or I've got this debt, and so I can't go after that thing right now. Look, there are many strategic ways that we'll talk about with Twisted Threads and these reflections of purpose. Because the thing is this, I recently had a conversation with a very good friend of mine, and it was specifically how this all got birthed. And, I was praying on some things, and it's like, okay, how is this direction going to go? And in that conversation, it was about how we connect what our next step is with other people. But look, sometimes other people don't want to go where you go. And so I'm a big advocate of getting around like-minded people and people who understand what it is. Maybe you two have the same dream. Maybe you both want to work on something that has to do with domestic violence, but one wants to be on the legal side and the other one wants to be on the outreach side. What if you two link up together? How about we diminish the time and decrease the time that it takes to birth a thing because you're trying to birth it by yourself. Even in the delivery room, there's a midwife. There is a physician that's coming to help you. And so as today we talk about you losing your mind, my hope is that you do just that. That you lose your mind in a sense of what is it that you're doing that is holding you back. You know it. When I decided to start this reflections of purpose, my biggest challenge was me. I was in my own way. It's like, well, I really don't know what to say. Yes, I do. I always know. I always have something to say. Doesn't matter what the topic is. Karen's got something to say. But before this time, I had to take some time of silence and reflection on my own so that I'd be able to share it with you. Look, I share these with specific purpose because I believe that there are many of you that are just like me. You've got a voice, you've got experience. Maybe you always have, headbands. This used to be rubber bands back in the day. And my cousin would always say, don't wear rubber bands because it make you look like, you got illegal activity going on. But it's just my line of work. Right now, I've got a lot of hair going all over the place. So I try to do that. Look, what's in your hands? What are you made of? And so we're going to have a series, and that's a separate series outside of these reflections of purpose, but you'll hear some more about that. And our current series is literally, what are you made of? That's a specific thing, and I pause on purpose, but reflections of purpose, lose your mind. Hopefully the points that you've heard have been areas that that you need to look at and be honest with yourself. Like I could say that in my younger years, I was so busy doing everything else. I didn't have time to be honest with myself. I didn't have time to kind of reflect on, well, what is this going to have? What purpose and effect is this going to have on my life in 5 years from now? But the thing is that something happened in my life, and we'll start talking about those things, that caused me to look specifically about my today choices and what I wanted tomorrow to be. And guess what? Today is that tomorrow. I planned for this. I love just how I look back on my journey and oh my goodness, there's been hills and valleys and ups and downs. But until I decided to lose my mind, lose my old mindset and think literally that all things are possible, I couldn't do anything. But now I live a life that is much different. And guess what? Tomorrow is gonna be even better. Come on back. We're looking to launch these 3 times a week. Twisted Threads. I'm glad you were able to join us. We'll see you again real soon. Have a great day.